Sam, I'm going to
Good.
put you into the big screen. Go ahead.
Already here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to the HIT program. Every Tuesday, we bring to you a nice casual chat talking about all things mindset, fitness, lifestyle, media, entertainment, just basically everything that we consume or that we are in our lifestyle to talk about and put a spotlight on, and how we can get better, how we can up level our skill sets, and just basically lead the kind of life that we each want to live. And today's episode is going to be an interesting one. Okay, and before we jump right into it, I want to introduce also our co-hosts, Andrea Gulick and Rash Hussein, joining us as well, guys.
Hey everyone.
Hey.
All right, great. So enthusiasm right here. So we're gonna pump this up right now. And today's topic really, and before I jump into that, when we talk about the HIT program, it's basically human investment technology, where we feel the biggest investment is made in you. So when you want to actually do anything, focus on you first. It's what you want to do, how you want to live your life on your terms, what makes you feel right, what resonates with you. And that's the whole intention and purpose of this show, is to hopefully offer you some things to think about, and stuff to use that will allow you to get stronger, allow you to make better decisions for yourselves, and just basically lead a nice, healthy lifestyle on your terms. And so today's topic is, who are you and not the things that you have done? So Andrea, who are you?
Oh, good question. This is what I did last week to Rash there, just put him on the hot seat straight away. I don't know if he enjoyed that too much, but anyway.
No, I didn't.
It's always good though, isn't it? I love the fact that we are willing to challenge ourselves in that way though, because we're going live to an audience where it's probably safe to say that a lot of people would probably have a similar experience. And I think the thing that we can offer people that align with kind of our philosophies here is our realness, and to be able to see that we don't have all the answers, and that we can be put on the hot seat and not have the answer, and that's okay. So as much as that was uncomfortable for you, Rash, I think was really really important in terms of helping other people feel safe in the fact that if they don't know the answer, that's okay as well. So but yeah, who am I? It's such a good question, isn't it? It's such a good contemplation point in terms of just being able to sit with that. And why I feel like it's so important to be able to separate who we are from what we do is because what we do can change in an instant. Like there's just so many different times in our life that what we do and how we do it can just change. And so that question of who am I, like for me, it's about the real depth of my soul, like what my soul came here to express, which is different to what my mind came here to do, and my heart and stuff like that. And so for me, who am I? I'm a really safe space that likes to enjoy the lightness and the depth of life. And whatever I do from that place will always come back to that truth of that I am safe. And that safety comes from not judging to the best of my ability, to be all accepting, to be compassionate, to be love. But hey, everyone that's tuning in, Anne and Lana, so good for you to be here. But the essential thing is I can give that so easily out there, and this is something I want to come back and focus on with you guys, is that I feel like I'm a really safe place for people because I don't feel like I have a judgmental energy. Like I accept where people are at for the most part. But it's being able to do that for ourselves. Like this is the thing, is that it can be so easy to create that space out there, but can we create it in here? So yeah, that's who I think, or who I feel is the true me is that safety. I always come back to that safety. So and that's not that I'm a teacher because that's something I do. It's not that I'm a mentor because that's something I do. It's not because I'm a wife even because that's something that I do. All of those situations, you know, can change. So who are you,
I think
Sam?
it's a tough question. It's I was just sorry, Sam, if I can.
Yeah.
Just saying that when I got proposed this question, Andrea asked me this and she said, who, you know, not what you've done. I don't think it's an easy question to sort of answer. It actually asks you to go deep. I think the purpose why I thought it was a really good topic, and last week we discussed it. It came out of a conversation with Anne that's joining us too. Once you go in deep, it's something you sort of break through the constructs of what, you know, society tells you what you are, or by you having, you know, a particular car or particular phone or whatever it is. And we, you know, sometimes we get these questions asked to us when we're going through tough times, or you know, when we're having these types of chats. And I think that sort of like enlightenment of understanding, really, like who are you? You know, it can help you so much. I don't know. You guys can probably talk about it more, but it just sort of breaks down things into a different level. Does that make sense? Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Sam?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. I actually wanted to add to that point. Sorry, just going full frame here. Oh, that's not
Go into frame. Yeah, there you go. Well, by the way, we love your Movember mustache.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Thanks, man. I'm sporting a mustache. I haven't actually done this before. It's inspired by someone I saw who I felt looked, you know, pretty brave to do that. And I said, you know what? I was shaving one day and it's just trimming. It's like, why don't I just keep this on and see where it goes? So it's funny how this ties into the program of, you know, who do you think you are, and from, you know, apart from the things you've done. This is a very broad topic, to be honest. And me and Andrea were talking about it just before going live. And it's an interesting one, a very interesting one. I think we should be having more conversations here because there's a dissociated feeling that in companies who we think we are. Like when you dissociate or you become a witness of who you think you are, you're not your job, you're not your role, you're not any of these things, but you can be when you choose. That becomes really liberating when we have the freedom to know that we can choose. And the moment you take a step back, you're basically watching this whole life unfold, right? This whole, you know, drama. And the beauty of that is you don't have to attach yourself to it. Okay, we're just experiencing this thing called life, and everything's an experience, good, bad, and ugly, everything together. And so I love these topics because when people even practice it, all you have to do really is just wonder and ask, you know, who am I in this world? Like Andrea said, you know, maybe I'm a husband, wife, I'm a manager, a leader. You're not any of those really. You're just that in that context of that job or that role you're playing. And the beauty of that is you can detach. Like you don't have to connect with all this drama, especially when it's negative as well. That's not going to, you know, do you any help. And so going back to the original question, we're all of those things and none of those things at the same time. So that would be my.
I'm hoping you don't confuse people.
Yeah.
Well, hey, there's Starseed. Look, Stardust. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, is Rocco in the house? Is he?
He's in the house. So this is, again, it's a really good point there, Sam, because as you were speaking, what was sort of coming through was this, you know, who are we? And the follow-on question from that can absolutely be, who do we want to be? And that's where our opportunity of choice and the power that really does sit within us, that's where it comes from, is that when we say, who are we can absolutely recognize that maybe there's elements that don't feel like they that we're showing up in the true sense of who we want to be. And so therefore we can, that's where we can shift from, that's where we can pivot from, that's where we can ask some more questions that take us closer and closer and closer to the absolute essence of who we were created to be. Like wherever you think that creation, first sparked from, whether you think that, we come from gorillas in the mist, or whether you think, the world was created in 7 days, however it is, what your truth is on that. But that's the power thing. Like we get into these conversations and they kind of feel like they go deep, and there's almost like this mellowness that we have when we speak about this, because we're really going in underneath the surface, deeper than that, rah, rah, brah thing. But it actually creates that, because when you sit with this, feel my energy go, when you sit with who do I want to be? Like, who do I want to be? I've got all of these options of who I want to be, what feels good to me in terms of resonating at my highest, truest, most authentic level. And I get to live my life from that space. Yep, 100%. There might be a few deep questions you've got to ask, and there might be a few looks in the mirror that might be uncomfortable to start with. But man, when you can shift through that stuff and begin to recognize that what is resonant in my body, like what feels good, because that's what truth feels like, then that's just like this, it's like this freight train of stuff that just builds, and it's exciting. It becomes exciting when you have the opportunity to choose.
Yeah, no, for sure. I also wanted to add to that, Andrea, just something really quickly. And we'll open up, the questions as well, guys. It's an interactive process, and we're going to jump on your questions. I also wanted to touch on the fact that I think, and the way I see many people, is they're not really being fully themselves. That's what I sense. Because if they were, they would be totally, they would be total. They would be congruent with who they are and how they show up. And so I think one of the biggest dilemmas is people are going around through life trying to be someone, that fits in that persona, or that fits like that. That's for example, a manager. He's supposed to act, or she's supposed to act that way. So they try to fit into that box, and they just don't cut it, because they're fully not them. Okay, we're so unique that if you were to apply yourself congruently, totally be there, trust me, you will create a new persona of what it means to be a real leader, or a manager. And no two managers are the same. No two leaders are the same. Everyone will lead in their own unique, specific way. So going back to the point of who are you, I think we're trying to be something that we're not. The majority of people, we're trying to be something that we're not.
And why do you think that? Why do you think that's what a lot of people do?
I think it's because we're following a false narrative. I think that when we see leadership, you need to act a certain way depending on who that role model was in your life. And we try to fit ourselves. Like for the longest period, I tried to act like my dad in a way in terms of leadership. But I'm not him. And there was a mismatch. So therefore, I could not pull it off the way he would, and vice versa. So I had to uniquely become my own type of leader, my own type of person in any given context. And now some people would like it, some people don't. That's fine. Like I have to be myself, and I have to be congruent in that context with of what is required at that moment. But I think the underlining message here is be total, be congruent with what it is. Not everyone would like it because it could be very new to them. And some will dislike it completely outright.
But that's the thing, isn't? Oh, sorry, Rich.
No, go ahead. Go. No,
I was just going to say, like that's the nugget of gold right there, though, Sam, isn't it? Is that when we are searching outside, when we are searching out there for who we should be to fit in, like what Rocco says, when that is our measure stick, we're always going to miss the mark. Yeah. And that's why, for me, this is why we ask ourselves, who am I? Because you know what, who I am, who do I believe I am? Who am I comfortable being? What feels true and congruent to me? Sam, you might think I'm an absolute, I was going to swear. You might think I'm
No.
an absolute moron, right? And Rash might think I'm the best thing since sliced bread. So which one am I? Am I a moron or am I the sliced bread?
It depends
The
who
one that
you
I
vote
am.
for.
No?
Depends who you vote for. If you go for Collingwood,
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly. But this is the thing, is that, you know, when we're placing who we are based on what the outside world tells us, then we have to continue to morph and change and squish and fit, when we can actually be very, very, very okay with who we are, and we feel it and we know it and we're congruent with it. The rest of the world can think we're whatever they want. It doesn't change our identity. I'm not saying that it might feel disappointing and a bit uncomfortable if people think we're morons when we think we're doing okay. I'm not saying that we can avoid emotions. They're real and true. But losing our identity and feeling like we're not enough, that stuff cuts deep. So, you know, for me, that's about, yeah.
Can I ask, and I'm going to start putting up some comments, and if anyone's got some more comments, please put them into the comment section. We'll put them up, and there's a couple of questions that are already asked that we'll go through. Also, your background, Andrea, from a teacher's, you know, you do part-time teaching. When you're dealing with kids, one of the, I think one of my qualms with teachers in general is not everyone's the same, like with the kids, right? And the question is, what I have for you is, do you allow those kids to be who they are, and does it matter if they don't fit into that box? Because for me, education system is based on the 1920s, where it's for the Industrial Revolution, read, write, know how to do, take orders, and everyone's sort of like very similar, have a uniform, etc. Just want to see your perspective of that, and then there's a couple of comments for me.
Well, I think the fact that I only do relief teaching and I don't do it full time answers that question.
All right.
I'm not aligned with the system, because the system is, you have to fit this, and I'm the complete opposite. I'm the complete opposite. We shouldn't have to fit anything. We should be able to be who we are and have. And I get it. It's hard to help a whole population of people know what they need to know. But I come from a different way and wonder, do we all need to know the same stuff? And the level of being able to express ourselves and stuff like that is somewhat inhibited by the dotting the I's and crossing the T's that needs to be done, which is a part of the system. You know,
guys, we've got a question here from Lana. She's got her friend Dave with her, and says Dave would like to know, after so many years of doing the same thing over and over again, how do you actually change that mindset? It's a little bit of a deviation, but we can try to answer that. Sam or Andrew, you want to have a crack at that?
Can I jump on that?
Yeah.
I think we do the same thing over and over again. Research has proven that is because that's what you know to be familiar. Like that's your, for lack of a better term, your comfort zone. Even if it's a negative type of behavior, you'll continue to do that because that's familiar. So how to get out of that mindset? We'll start writing down a few things that you actually would like to get into, would like to do, would like to as lifestyle. Like what are those things that you'd like to do? What you want, not what you don't want. Like the more I think about not doing something, the more I keep doing it. Remember, we're a product of the habits that we hold, whether it's good or for bad. So if you want to change that mindset, at least as a first step, get into the habit of writing down what you do want instead. And if you can do that, obviously in the morning, early morning, after you wake up, it's even better. Just writing down what you do want, how you wish to feel. You know what I mean? Get used to, get more familiar with the feeling of what you want. And then slowly that will start to integrate into your system. That's a quick short answer to that, Andrea.
But here's the point, and you might write down what you want, but you're still not getting it. So that's the point. So, and it's a mindset shift. But what I would probably just suggest in further to what you were saying, Sam, is that to get some guidance, because sometimes we have these, we have some baggage and things that we need to get rid of, or we don't know how to do things. So going to see someone to help you with the mindset change, I think is,
Yep. No, I agree. I mean, that's why we're here as well. People can reach out. Rich, can you put your mic on mute? Yeah, that's it. Cool. Thanks. Well, that's why we're here, really. Now, I do have to throw in a quick disclaimer. We're not doctors or psychologists or psychiatrists or any of that. We're not part of that world. We're coaches, okay? And we've learned some stuff from neuroscience, okay, and different modalities on how to create a better life, okay? And we're currently doing that. So you can obviously reach out. So this channel is basically to get the wheels in motion. So if changing your lifestyle means a lot to you, then reach out. There's plenty of things that we could do. I just threw in something really quick on what I used to do, and that worked. You just started to get more familiar with stuff that I like to have instead. Like, take, for example, smiling. When people used to tell me, Sam, you should smile more, I used to cringe. It's like, really? Like, it's not that quick, But the more I started to be more familiar with what it feels like to smile every morning, to create my attitude, develop an attitude of better health, an attitude of more, love, affection. The moment I started to practice those, I started to feel those. And then that started to become a new habit. And then I felt good about it because the people around me also felt good as well. So everything was resonating. So going back to your question, Rich, the moment we start to practice something that's totally unknown and foreign, give it a chance, okay? Because we all know that, everyone loves to hang around with people that feel good, that are smiling, they're friendly, because they're just great to be around, So that's all I have on the subject right now.
Can I jump in? I think you're still on mute there, Rash.
You go ahead.
Yeah. So I guess I have somewhat of a different approach, although I have done things like that in terms of manifesting an outcome that I wanted. There's no doubt that I have used those strategies in my life, definitely, and manifested amazing things. On this one, like, I think I would go directly to it, as in, what I mean directly to it is directly to Dave. And pose the question of, to have him kind of a part of the conversation in terms of, how does he think he could actually change this mindset? And
it's a good question.
What would it mean to him? What would it mean? What would happen if he actually changed this mindset? What might possibly be getting in the way? What are the stories, or what are the feelings, or what are the fears? Because the reality is, we don't change something because I think we could, fairly say that there's a fear of the unknown if we change it. The unknown of maybe, who are we? Like, and this is a big thing. I think we talked about this last week, maybe off the call, in terms of people's identities. And when we have been a certain way or done something for a certain amount of time, there is this literal thing of not knowing who we are if we don't show up in the same way. Like, it doesn't matter whether the world doesn't know who we are, the feeling of us not knowing who we would be. Like, who is Dave if he stops doing the same thing that he's done over and over and over again? Which is, at the end of the day,
what does that mean?
This is what the question is. Who is he? Who is he beneath the fact that he's been doing the same thing over and over? Because that is where some of his answers to this very thing of repetitive behavior that maybe doesn't feel quite so good for him, that's where the nuggets of gold are. But Dave has those answers. I believe he has those answers, and it's being guided to really be able to explore that and be, contemplate that, not this whip of, how do I change this? Why do I keep doing the same thing? Just say, oh, that's interesting. I've been doing the same
I think we're going to invite Dave on. Okay, so we're going to put the link in the group, and Dave will come on, and it'll be good. We can help him. If we can, that would be great. I just want to say, I recently, you both know, and some close friends know, had a bit of a tragedy in the family about 4 or 5 days ago. Car accident on the ring road in Melbourne. Uncle passed away, and right there and then, or these last few days, it's funny that we put this topic on, but I'm asking the question to myself. It's like sometimes when we get a tragedy and something that happens, you start asking the question. You say to yourself, "Who am I?" What? All of a sudden, perspective changes, and you start asking these questions. You know, not the things that I've done. I've had, you know, album releases or hit records or whatever. Like, who really am I? And sometimes and I just want to pose that out, that sometimes the tragedy that happens in life is what causes that. You know, we're gonna put Dave on.
Rich, can I jump in before Dave comes on?
Yeah.
First of all, sorry to hear that as well, Rich. I mean, we spoke off the call as well. You know.
Yeah, it was tough.
May you rest in peace.
Yeah.
That it's always a loss that makes us really, you know, look back and become introspective. But I also want to attribute that to what also Andrea and that thread that we were talking about, being familiar. As human beings, I mean, we love to be familiar with things because it's also safe, you know. And the moment a component or a person in that case gets removed from that equation, it rocks our world because they're part of that ecosystem that creates what we see the world to be. So going back to your point, when you lose a loved one, I can't imagine what that would really feel like exactly, because it would really change things and definitely shift perspective. So it does actually tie into, and I'm happy that you brought it up, because it does tie into this whole conversation of familiarity, and then who am I moving forward in the future? Like Andrew was saying, who's that person? So cool. I just wanted to throw that.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate the comments also. It's been a tough last few days, but yeah, we're all trying to bond together, because sometimes tragedy also gives you realization also. So anyway, let's get our friend Dave in. So we'll put him into the big screen. And did you put him in?
Yep.
Let's just go. Dave, can you hear us? Okay.
His picture still a little bit.
Okay. I think he's going to have to go back in, just because it says remove. Okay. He'll come back in a second. So yeah, I didn't want to. Actually, I was even thinking about coming on today. You guys both know, so I didn't want to really mention it. But yeah, it just does. I think perspective. It just changes perspective. It's crazy. And I mean, you've gone through it, Andrew, yourself. We've had chats about it also. But yeah, it you know, sometimes we're forced into a particular way from events that happen that are external, and that you'll ask yourself and go, what's important, you know? So yeah, I'm just going to add.
I think it's that.
I've got no mic, Rash. What's happening?
Oh, sorry, we've got Lana in. Hey, Lana, how are
you? We can't hear. What do I hear?
You need to unmute, but we can hear you.
She can't hear us, I don't think.
Am I muted?
All right, so we can hear you fine. Okay, that's not working. All right, we're going to have to, it's a bit of a technical, got nothing to do with us. I think it's got technically with Lana getting her on. We'll get her on in a moment. I'm just going to remove her and ask her to come back in, and we'll continue on. Andrew, you were going to say something?
Well, I was just going to say, in terms of, you know, like obviously this was the exact reason of, you know, the questioning, who am I, is because obviously anybody that's tuned in knows the journey of my life. But that's the thing, isn't it, is that it really does show us the fragility, is that the right word? You know, how fragile our existence is, and how, you know, for me, we're not just this human we're not just this human body that is here to just do things. Like, there is so much more depth to each and every one of us, and so much more infinite opportunity. And sometimes it takes the end of this physical experience for other people to recognize the layers that we have here, and really be able to embrace that. Like, Sam, you were saying before we tuned in, and I just loved it, about, almost, I don't even know how you described it, but not detachment. What did you say? Disassociation, being able to sort of come back out, like zoom back out, and be able to look at this whole life journey and what we're kind of here for. And we're not just here to do stuff, like, we're here to be stuff, and to be us. And like you're saying, the tragedy of losing your uncle, it gives us that moment of such deep introspection that I believe is really, really genuinely difficult to experience just naturally. Like, it's almost like these things, as horrible as they are, they take us down a path that can actually elevate us as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but it's hard in the short term. I just want to say it's hard in the short term. And you've been through that yourself, Andrea, and when it follows you knows that in the short term, especially when it's a tragedy, if it's a car accident, in his case, you just start to ask the question, like, why? How does that happen? So yeah, it's tough.
I should say it gives you the opportunity to be able to, within yourself. But that's a personal thing, and that's a timing thing. Like, at the end of the day, like, you need to manage the pain and the suffering right then and there. Like, that's a part of it. You can't bypass that. You have to actually allow yourself to feel what you're feeling from the tragedy. But I'm talking about down the track for me personally. It gave me the opportunity, when I was kind of out of the eye of the storm, to look at it reflectively and contemplate, okay, like, who am I now? And what do I believe the meaning of our existence is? It's not really something you're going to expect someone to do 4 days after they lose someone that meant so much to them. That's not really the time, is it?
Yeah, it's you just start getting a whole bunch of mixed different thoughts, and it's but it does again changes your perspective. You look at things differently, and you ask that question: who am I? Like, what am I doing? Is this all really worth it? Like. So this is just a sort of, but hopefully it's in a positive way. I'm just looking at there's comments here from Anne. We should ask if she wants to join also, if she wants to. She's not that tech savvy, and I'm just going to put the link in. So Sam, take over while I do this stuff. Sorry, I just put you in the picture.
I'm gonna just comment on a couple of things. Andrea, bless you. You said actually something really. I had to write it down, which is lovely. We are not here to do stuff, but to be stuff. I fucking love that a lot.
Hey, dude, you swore. You dropped the F-bomb.
Oh, sorry,
guys.
This is the realness, right?
When I load this to YouTube, I have to put not for kids.
I mean that. But before you post up the questions, Rich, sorry, I was just trying to make a point before, because doing stuff and being stuff, that's like two totally different things. And I think, Andrea definitely resonates with. I resonate with Andrea on this point. But that being, if we have to sound a little bit deep, being means actually operating congruently in the moment. Like, whatever comes out there. And so, and then that would link up to what Anne was writing on. For some of us, here, let me just put it up. For some of us, we end up a life that is adjusted to accommodate and others' needs or expectations. So when something really hard hits us, it's then we realize we are not living our reality at all. I couldn't agree with it more, to be honest with you, because that's when it really hits us. Like, where was I? I invited that in, and I'm accommodating. So we were taught to believe that we need to serve people. Yes, serving is very noble. It's beautiful. But I think we miss out one of the most important components. It's us. Like, let's serve ourselves first, just so we're in a good place to allow us to serve others appropriately. And when I say appropriately, it's not to tick a box. So if I'm going to tell Andrea or Rich good morning, I have to say it like I mean it. It's not because I have to tick a box. I have to feel it. I have to feel it. And so, and guess what? I'm going to drop this right now. If you do it from a place of congruency, totally, the people you're with will appreciate it. Definitely. They'll appreciate it. They'll resonate with that. They will connect with that. And I think that's really what we're seeking. The moment we really truly find ourselves totally, we find the rest of the people in the world in it.
I'm
Right.
really
Let's
sorry.
just
I seriously have to. I am covered in goosebumps right now. As weird as this sounds, that is the way that I know that what either I'm saying or somebody else is saying is on effing point. It's just like that's true. Because this is the thing, right? This is the thing. Like, this is the core of it, as far as I'm concerned. Being and doing are both super freaking important. One is not more important than the other. It's just what came first, chicken or the egg, right? Now, to me, when we can recognize that who we are and being who we are and being congruent and in line with that and owning that, what we do will just be so much more powerful and impactful and stuff, because like you say, Sam, people can feel our energy. Now, if you're showing up because it's what you were taught to do, it's what you believe you should do, you're doing it out of expectation, obligation, you are sure as shit probably going to be resentful, annoyed, frustrated. People feel that, and we wonder why we have this like kind of relationships going on, right? So, you know, Brene Brown. Everybody heard. I'm hoping everybody's heard Brene Brown.
Yeah.
She talked about, like, she's all up into data and stuff, which is so not the way my mind works. But she talked about how they did research into what made the most compassionate people. Like, what was the common thread of the most compassionate people in the world, right? So we're talking Mother Teresa, we're talking about all these people that just look completely selfless, right? And they collated it all together. And what stood out was they had boundaries of steel, right? Now, I didn't understand that, because I'm like, boundaries, that's about keeping people out. That's about not showing up for others. But when you get into it, what I recognized was what she was sharing is that they had so much room for compassion because they knew when to say yes and they knew when to say no. If you don't know when and how to say no, you're going to give a false yes. And that yes is going to be so wrapped up in icky, frustrated. And so therefore, you're not doing it from the heart. You're doing it out of these false beliefs of, one, I think, will you love me if I do this? This, even though it might not be on the top surface, will I be accepted? Will I be good enough? Will I be worthy? I'll say yes until I prove my worth, opposed to just owning it. It's, sorry, I'm on a tangent because, man.
No, that's good. Andrea, listen, I'm going to add the wonderful Anne to the stream. She's joining us. I'm just going to put her in the big screen. Good morning. Put her on. Hi, how are you?
Good.
Let's just put you on the big screen. We
Rich,
can't get you onto the big. Yeah.
can I do that for you, please? 1 second.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, here.
Hi, Anne.
Hi, Anne.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to the show.
Topic. Thank
She's
you.
frozen up.
The connection is not so good today.
Guys,
Mine is working pretty cool today.
Mine's working good. We just got her with a beautiful smile on. I think what we'll do is.
Oh, here she is.
Can you hear us now? No. She's got.
I think we've got a bit of a delay.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Working.
Let me just ask her to come back in a little bit later. I think it's all those storms in Victoria. They've had a lot of storms there. So let's just try it one more time.
I'm gonna pose an interesting,
Yeah.
maybe an
We-
interesting
we get
perspective here.
Yeah.
Anne doesn't have to answer this question on live here, but just ponder whether or not I find topics that are kind of like not a trigger, but kind of like a topic that maybe we've had to deal with or we're dealing with. My connection with my clients will always go nuts. It's incredible that when you hit a thing,
Frequency.
it's like our subconscious. It's insane. But anyway, that's just I'm just wondering about that. I might talk to Anne about that when we get offline.
All right, cool. Let me try and put her on again. All right, put her in a big screen. No, it's not working.
That's me.
It's not going to work.
I'm not.
Go back to you. All right, I'm gonna. It doesn't work. Yeah, here she goes. We got her. Hold on. Let's put her in the big screen. Can you hear us, Anne? No, she can't. All right. Internet's no good in Victoria at the moment. We're having problems with Lance and Anne. All right. I suggest for Anne to leave and then come back in and try it, because we're going to wrap up in about 10 minutes. So we'd love to hear some of her thoughts. So let her leave and come back in. Guys, carry on. Let me do the technical stuff. So Sam, put yourself in the big screen and let me just
myself in the box. So
kick her from the studio. Yeah.
Rich, are you done?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So listen, guys, just a quick thing. I mean, please share, like, subscribe, share with your friends. We're running this program because we're all giving our time to do this. Time is valuable to us, and I'm sure your time is valuable as well. So we absolutely appreciate that you're joining, because one person tells another person, and that helps. And we're talking about something that we absolutely love, we're passionate about, that we're working in terms of like coaching and helping people. And so please like and share whenever you can. We'll definitely appreciate it. So we're talking about the subject, to refresh the room, or the video in this case. Who are you, and not the things that you have done? So sometimes we get wrapped up into who we think we are so much that we forget who we are. And at the end of the day, sometimes it makes us feel miserable, a bit stuck, depending on where we're going with this. So are you going
trying to put Lana in? Yeah, let me put Lana in and see if we can get her. Lana, can you hear us? Can you or can't? All right. No, it's not working.
I can't unmute. I can't hear anything.
All right, we're going to get you off, mate.
I think we need to take Rocco's lead here.
Yeah, I know. He's saying the universe is suddenly something, no guests.
Yeah.
All right.
But this is the thing, though. We can, let's pose the question here if people are comfortable. Like, people are fantastic writing in the comments, which is brilliant. And like, if they were to ponder for themselves, and sometimes it's not an easy question to answer, and that's totally okay. But who are you? Like, who do you believe that you are? And sometimes we can believe things that don't feel that great. But unless we're willing to get honest with that, so that we can work out where that's come from and how that's kind of, got stuck, you can't hope to shift it. Like, you can't shift anything that you can't see, or that you're not willing to kind of be honest about. And so I wonder if there's anyone that is comfortable enough to say it how it is. Like, who are you if you really sit with it? Yeah.
That's a big hello to Martha, by the way. Sorry, you always take me on the trance, Andrea.
The trance dance. The trance dance. I love it. Yeah.
Here's the thing, because we're going to wrap up soon. I mean, the guests haven't worked really well today, because there's obviously the power outage. I've just found out in Victoria, in some parts. Let's discuss next week's topic as we wrap up. Some comments in there if there's something that people want to tackle next week, or we can come up with something. So I think today's topic, you can't just do it in one session, to be honest, or one thing. It's such an important, really, really important topic, So,
And
what do
it's
you guys
something that you
suggest?
can, sorry, it's something that people can continue, because this is the thing. It's not really so much about tuning in here every week. And it is, don't get me wrong, we love it. We clearly love what we do, all of us. And we love that people tune in with us and that we're all here together. But, this is something that each and every day people can wake up with and go, who am I? And who do I want to be? Who am I? And who do I want to be? And begin to start that conversation with themselves and just listen for what they hear and where that can take you. So, but let's go to topics for next week.
All right, cool. So what have we got? We've got something from Anne here. She says, over time we should sit with where we have been and give approval and take that as who we should be. Interesting. What do you guys think?
Yeah, and I think, well, for me, so I'm going to jump in there, Sam, straight away. Yeah, who we believe we are up until the point of actually really seriously asking ourselves will be who we think we should be and who we've been taught to be and who we've been influenced to be. But this is the greatest opportunity. People that are tuning in, they're tuning in for a reason. We're here for a reason. And this is where we get to say, well, it's not about who I should be. It's about who I want to be and who I already am, but maybe I've just forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's another comment here. It says the other thing is we look at stereotypes that we try to copy and morph. That's so true.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier when, we look at someone we want to be, and we can't quite fit in there exactly because we're not ourselves.
Yeah. Look, I was going to say, go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, speaking of the topics for next week, what do you think of what's your motive on doing the things you want to do? Like, what's your motivation? What's your motive? I feel that's like a driving factor for many people. So when they want to become something or they want something, asking themselves, what's your motivation for that? What's your motive?
What's your motive behind what you do? Is that maybe
what you want to do, about who you want to be? What's your motive? Like where are you going with that? And
that's the question. Where are you going with that? That could be the topic. Where are you going with that?
Well, then
is that too broad?
Well, then the question is, what is that? So, where do you want to go with your life? Or, Andrea, what do you think?
What did you just say then? Where do you want to go with your life? Is that?
Or what's your motivation? Like, what's your motive for doing whatever it is you want to do, or whoever it is you wish to become? Like, what do you think?
I think I already know the answer, but anyway, let's go with it.
Hey, there's a comment here from Lana. Maybe you can just have a quick look before we wrap up.
Yeah. Don't wish to be the person I was groomed to be, that's for sure. Yep. So the ultimate question is, that comes back to, if you don't want to be the person you were groomed to be, who do you want to be? And that's the ownership, and that's the power point, isn't it? Like, that's the place of power, is that we can look at all of these outside situations and circumstances, and don't get me wrong, they're huge. Like, there's some huge stuff that influences the way that our life goes, and I understand that. I totally understand that. But at this point in time, I would like to be asking people what they want for their future, more so than it's really important to look at the past. And I work with inner child stuff, but that's only to be able to become conscious of what you can't see, so that then you keep looking forward and you keep moving into your future with a very, the confidence to just be you. Yeah.
I'm just thinking whether or not there's a way that we can, with Lana's question there, that we can add that into next week somehow to help her with that. I don't know. Just to see what you guys think. Like, this is about your image, like the way you see yourself, which is pretty much today's episode.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think there's an element of, this is a beautiful opportunity for people to hear from different people, to see different perspectives, to ask them different questions. But essentially, it's really about being taken on a very individual, independent journey, because like that's where you're really going to be able to shift through this stuff. And I'm not dismissing what we're all here for, but the reality, some of this stuff, it takes that commitment to actually work with someone one-to-one and find that person that you resonate with, who can feel safe to you, so that you can genuinely ask these questions instead of it being more of a, some of these things people might not necessarily want to jump on for, and that's totally cool too. So
Sam, before we wrap up, Sam and I were talking yesterday offline, and we were saying about who's in the driver's seat. And I was just looking at one of Anne's comments, who's in charge. And I said, if we look at it as like a metaphor and saying, who's driving the car? Like, are you the co-passenger? Are you driving? Are you on autopilot? Are you aware? So these are sort of the questions that we need to ask ourselves, because we are
maybe
in charge.
that's next week's topic, Rash. Who's in the driver's seat? And maybe explore some of the things we think are in the driver's seat. I'm not sure.
What do you think of that, Sam?
Yeah, agreed. I think we need to first identify, like we do have the power of choice and making a decision. So in very simplistic terms, I think you want help, then just decide, I want help, and go to the person that, the first person that you think and feel good about in their space, and get that and get started. That's it, really. Make a decision, no matter how small or how big, whatever it is for you. Everyone's going on their own pace, and get that help, get that tutoring, get that mentorship, whatever it is that takes you to the next step, which will take you to the next step and the next step after that.
Well, I think that leads to the motives that you were talking about before. So I think, although Martha's put a good one, we could probably put it for the following week, is why do some people successfully find and live their true self and others can't? That could sort of like intertwine to it. So I think if you guys agree, I'm going to put it in the comments and just give us the thumbs up and say who.
I saw Lana's comment. Hold on. Dave's on autopilot for sure.
I'd like to address that, because I'm going to go with Lana. At the end of the day, a majority of people are. I don't mean any disrespect from that. That is in different ways. Like, it might be more obvious for some people, but for the most part, most people are on autopilot, which is why it's so difficult when someone says, "Who are you?" for anybody to just be able to say it off the cuff, because we live our life on autopilot.
Yeah.
So what's the question again? Sorry, for next week we said who's driving your. No, we can't say
who's in the driver's seat. Who's in the driver's seat of your life?
That's a good one.
Who is in the driver's seat of your life? Because you might be someone else, like it could be a parent, or someone could be driving your life without you knowing, or other circumstances, work, whatever. Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We're getting a bunch of comments. I'll put that in there. So cool.
There we go.
So I'm just going to show it. Is that why Dave can't get out of the autopilot? I think Dave's issue is a bit different. That's not the only reason. I think there's a multiple of things.
Yeah.
You've got to get rid of baggage, and you need clarity.
There's a process.
Who you are.
It's
a process. Yeah.
Cool. So we're going to be.
So that's the question. Who is in the driver's seat of your life? I love it.
And if you don't like who's driving, who's going to?
Well, ultimately, it's got to be you that's got to be driving, no?
Yeah, but what part of you? Yeah, it's interesting though. I think this is where we begin to see the choices, right?
Andrea,
if we don't like who's driving, I know we're just about to wrap up. I could speak about this.
No. You were just about to go into woo-woo, and I just had to I could feel that you were going to go into different
No, this
you
is
know.
this is a really, I think this is like such a powerful place to be, is that, you know, if you recognize that you don't like who's driving it, then how do we change the driver? Who gets to take the wheel? And how do we do
I
that?
think that's a bit of a ripper of a topic.
Mm,
All right,
good.
so let's wrap up. Sam, put yourself at the big screen and tell everyone where they can find us and what we can do, and
Great.
next week topic, and yeah.
Thanks, guys, for joining us. It was superb. I thank our co-hosts, Andrea and Rash. Thanks, guys, for adding. This was an interesting topic, very exciting. This is exactly what we talk about on the HIT program, which stands for Human Investment Technology. We're investing time into ourselves that will give us a better life, a more richer life, whatever that means for you, that's more fulfilling, more satisfying, and that you enjoy. So thanks for joining us. Next week's topic is going to be, so who's in the driver's seat? That's sure to be a very exciting, fun topic as well, just like today's. And please like, share, subscribe with your friends. Each one tell someone, you know what I mean? And that would help us enormously, because we are giving our time really, and we appreciate and value your time as well, that you've come onto the show and interacted with us. Appreciate your time. Everyone here. I noticed that a lot of people that are joining us every week are, you know, some of the same people, which is awesome, which means that we're doing something great here, and we hope that it snowballs into something much greater. Thanks, Martha, as well. You guys are all fabulous. So join us next week. Next Tuesday, we're talking about who's in the driver's seat, and that's going to be a fun topic. Enjoy the rest of your week. Take care of yourself, and hey, if you got a question, make a decision. Reach out to any one of us. You know where to find us here on Facebook, and we'll be happy to help and take that conversation forward. Okay, signing out.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
See you next week.
Ciao.